Bob was raised on a farm near central Indiana.
Bob left high school after his freshman year. It wasn't his choice. His parents had been divorced. He was living with his mother, and she taught him to be responsible. She taught him to be respectful. And then he repaid her by finding a way to help out. As he put it, it was important that we ate. And so he went to work. He worked in a bank for a while until he got caught reading radio magazines, and they suggested he should consider a different career. Bob's mentor was DJ Angus, a young businessman originally from West Michigan.
And DJ Angus went to a science fair and noticed a beautiful compound microscope that had been built by one of the students at Shortridge High School. A student who, by the way, just dropped out. DJ Angus then arranged for Bob Annis to get a better job than he had. The relationship really was a combination of the older man mentoring Bob Annis and developed into being more like a father-son relationship.
Bob Annis went back to high school a little bit older than the other students in his classes. He was 20. He had a business that he'd opened up across the street from the high school, the Annis Electrical Apparatus Company. He was the only business operator graduating from high school that year. He began work in the 1920s, working with the very earliest days of radio, and in fact was a member of a club in Indianapolis called the Radio Club.
He was a man with an unusual number of interests in the scientific field.
This is a young man with pretty limited formal education, but a brain that just filled in all the missing places. In radio, for speakers and for other reasons, you really need magnets. And he looked around, I think, and saw that nobody was making really high-quality magnets. He began to look at how can we build a better magnet. So he taught himself.
When it came to knowing magnets, he was pretty much of a genius.
I can remember Bob Annis, the high school dropout, was helping physicists from MIT solve a problem in magnetics.
There's an organization made up of prominent Indianapolis scientists, businessmen, called the Scientech Club. And they would meet once a week, present ideas to each other, programs to each other, and that's how they would develop their ideas. Before long, Bob got involved in the regional science fair for the Indianapolis area.
That is what really excited Bob, to get people, students especially, as interested in science as he was.
He went back to that science fair for over 4 decades. DJ Angus owned a yacht called the Angus, a 50-foot diesel-powered lake vessel, and as Bob Annis would say, I was first mate.
Bob Annis's love for the Great Lakes came from those early cruises in northern Lake Michigan, but also he cared about water resource in that he was an avid canoer.
Toward the end of his life, Angus has to decide what to do with his yacht. And because Grand Valley was a very new school at that point, he stepped in and he said, the Angus is yours.
When I came to Grand Valley, one of the first things that I was told is we have a boat for research and education on Lake Michigan. I thought that was a great idea.
Bob understood the value of research, particularly as it might have an applied benefit to society.
The more we did, the more involved he became. He was the first major donor that helped us see that we might be able to attract the resources to fund the research in the Great Lakes the way we wanted to. To name that institute for him was just a natural.
We've always had 3 main programs. That's education, outreach, and research. But the research component has expanded tremendously over the last 15 years. We've put over 160,000 passengers on the W.G. Jackson, which is berthed in Muskegon, and the DJ Angus, which is berthed in Grand Haven. So that kind of experience, which is something that Bob Annis really insisted on, and it was his vision that got that going. Give the students a hands-on learning experience because that's the way he learned. It's been a tremendous, tremendous asset. At the Institute, one of our motivating factors is to make sure that the kinds of research that we're doing has applied benefits. And I think that reflects Bob's history, Bob's love, and Bob's interests.
The Water Resources Institute is becoming more and more recognized as the research institute for fresh water.
When D.J. Angus died, Bob Annis wanted to somehow make a memorial, a lasting memorial.
Scientech Club became Scientech Foundation.
That group of scientists still support Grand Valley State University's Annis Institute every year with a gift. He was instrumental in the scientific Olympics for high school students in Indiana, and the winners there he would bring to go out on the Angus boat.
Toward the end of his life, Grand Valley awarded him an honorary doctorate. It was a great moment for him, and I think for Grand Valley. The Bridge Builder. The poem was a popular poem of the 20s. Bob had that hanging on his wall. I do remember him pointing it out to me as something that he had lived by. An old man going a lone highway came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream held no fear for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow pilgrim near, you're wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the passing day. You'll never again pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build the bridge at eventide? The builder lifted his old gray head. Though I need it not myself, he said, there followeth after me some youth whose feet must pass this way forsooth. This chasm that has been not for me, to those fair-head youths may a pitfall be. They too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building the bridge for them.